Welcome to episode 3 of the podcast. Um, my name is Tegan. I am a senior forensic science major, and this is Jacob.
Hi everyone, I'm Jacob. I'm a senior applied math major, and my knowledge on forensics is criminal minds.
So today we are going to be talking about the Lizzie Borden case. So if you want to give us a little background on it.
Yeah, so Fall River, Massachusetts, back in the 1800s, I don't know the exact year, sorry. Lizzie Borden was at her house, right? And there's a few key people in her house with her. Okay, so in her house, so Lizzie, she has an older sister, I think. They're older, younger. There's a sister, and then her dad, her stepmother, the living maid, and then her uncle. So this house, it has 2 stories, I think. So like downstairs is like the living room and like the kitchen and stuff like that. Upstairs is where the bedrooms are. That's kind of important because I think of like where the murders happen. So one day, I think it was her sister like went out and the uncle was out. Like the only people home when the murder took place was the maid, Lizzie, her dad, and her stepmother. So I believe first, upstairs, someone, because they don't know who did it, attacked the stepmother in the bedroom. She was like cleaning or something like that and got whacked. And then her father had been laying down on the couch, like taking a nap, like as men in the 1800s did. And Lizzie found the bodies, then contacted the maid, then they called police. And then everyone came back. It's like, oh my God, murder. So I think, yeah, her sister Emma wasn't home. I could be wrong on that. And then, but Lizzie and the maid were home.
All right. And do you know anything about the trial?
They didn't have enough evidence to convict Lizzie, but she was prime suspect because, like, she was home. I think her she didn't have the best relationship with the stepmother, and her dad and her weren't really best. Like, the dad wasn't really the nicest to both girls, and they didn't have enough evidence to convict her, even though she was prime suspect.
Yeah. Some of the things that I've like just gotten from researching. She was suspected of murdering her stepmother and her father in 1892.
That's the year.
Yep. She did pass away in 1927. Um, it was said that on August 3rd, which was the day before they were murdered, that she tried to purchase prussic acid. And then on August 4th, Lizzie was said to have found her father dead, struck in the head by a sharp instrument, which was later determined to be an axe. And then his wife's body, who is Lizzie's stepmother, was found upstairs mutilated. During the autopsy, it was said that the stepmother's death had preceded the father's by about an hour. So, again, like you're saying, likely she killed her stepmother on the second floor first, and later killed her father. There was an axe found in the basement of their house, which they, again, like, it was kind of concluded that that's what she used, but it was never, like, fully set in stone that that was the weapon. They say that they couldn't find a murder weapon, but there was an axe, is kind of how they describe that. She was arrested and tried for both murders in June of 1893, but was acquitted due to circumstantial evidence. And again, at this time, there was, fingerprinting wasn't a thing, DNA wasn't a thing. There was so little in the forensics world that you could have done to solve a murder in the 1800s. There was a lack of evidence indicating a break-in, which is kind of why people assume that since like the sister and uncle were out, that it was likely an inside job and stuff like that. And at the time, it says that Lizzie was the only person to be in the house, but likely the maid was, and around. Lizzie was also said to have told a neighbor a few days prior that she believed there was an unidentified enemy of her father coming to kill him. Whether that means anything. Lizzie also was said to have a strained relationship with her stepmother, and 3 days after the murders was said to have been seen burning a blue corduroy dress, which people think that's what the prussic acid was to burn the fire, just because she didn't poison anybody, it seemed, in their deaths.
Could you give me some information on what prussic acid does?
Prussic acid is also known as hydrogen cyanide, and it's an incredibly dangerous chemical that can kill you. It's very poisonous.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
In the 1800s, I'm not sure what was going on. So with the facts that I've just kind of given you in this slightly more in-depth rundown, do you have any other particular thoughts on the case at all?
So,
Do you think she did it?
like, my thing is, like, I didn't know that she had told someone that her father was, like, someone's coming to kill her father. So I feel like that's a new angle of, like, okay, so what if she just let this person in? And then they did her dirty work and then they left? You know? Like, what if she actually did not kill her father and stepmother for the history of the whole thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
'Cause
yeah.
maybe she wasn't actually lying. And maybe someone was coming to kill her father. You know, you never know. This was the 1800s, so yeah, the 19th century, you know. Um, I think I don't think the maid would do that. Maybe, depending on like how they treated her. So
Yeah.
never know. But I feel like it makes sense for Lizzie to have done it. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I agree. Now, having talked about the case, learned a bit more about the case, from a perspective of like you taking in the evidence around it and like just how the story was told. What are your thoughts on like how the media covered the story?
I think everything that was put out framed her in a way. Like, you know, it was like, yeah, there's other ideas, but it was a like prime suspect. Then they kind of just took that and rolled with it. Even though she was never convicted. So like, I don't know, I feel like she was kind of a recluse after that point because like, yeah, you may have killed your father, people don't trust you. How are you gonna get married? How
Mhm.
are you gonna like live your life?
There have also been several documentaries made. I mean, there's countless articles and things like that. How do you think that that played into like the way that people view her?
I think she's kind of become like a legend in a way because it's like there's a song, there's stories, there's like fanfare around her, and like the amount of adaptations through articles and film that have been about her. It kind of seems like a, I don't wanna argue an obsession, but kind of like you know like girl boss in a way. Like I don't know, I feel like I've heard her referred to as like, oh my God, she's so batty for doing that. You know, like how we
Hmm.
glorify killing as a
Yeah,
culture.
yeah.
I think it's like she's kind of become that kind of Black Widow-esque obsession
Mhm.
of like people know this idea of her, oh, she killed her dad and her stepmother because they treated her unfairly. Cool, but she still murdered people,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. The Lizzie Borden house like also plays into that. Like being able
Yeah.
to go to her
Go
house.
to going to any crime scene is crazy.
Mm.
I think that's insane. Like
Yeah.
people who follow crime that heavily. I get it. I get it. It's a good industry to get into. True crime is like booming. If you're so let's say like someone purchases a house that was involved in a killing, right? Or a murder took place there, or some type of crime, and then people still go to that house. Like that is someone's house,
Hmm.
you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Lizzie Borden's house. I mean, I'm assuming like it went to the. I think she lived in it until she died. To build a whole experience like it's a theme park is
Hmm.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's again that glorification of murder and crime, which makes money because of us, our society, but it's kind of like icky.
Yeah. No,
People died for this to become a an amusement park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. And then in terms of you're talking about like the obsession, the fetishization of crime and murder, but also you talked about how people, especially viewing her, have called her like a girl boss. She's in songs. It's like all this stuff. How do you think, like, or why do you think that she is viewed differently than other serial killers, or why is there such an appeal to her that there's like less of an appeal to other possibly male serial killers.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like women by society often are like held to the standard of like they're not aggressive, they're not dangerous, they can't be strong. So like when a woman does that, even if it's through crime, society is like amazing, great. And I support women being strong and doing everything, not through murder. I think murder is bad holistically. I do think also there's kind of the idea of she was never convicted, right? So technically she's not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
They found her not guilty.
Yeah.
She didn't, by court of law, she did not commit these crimes. So I think there's also the idea of like, okay, she's not
Yeah.
guilty in a way, but
Yeah.
her name was attracted to so much media attention. I don't know. I think it's the idea of like also her circumstances, like with a lot of male serial killers, you kind of just I don't want to accuse patterns, but from what I've seen in like media and like through storytelling, it's like they just do it to kill or
Mm-hmm.
like something sick and twisted. She kind of had a reason in a way. I think there was a financial thing, and her parents were trying, like her dad was trying to marry her to someone or something like that. So it's like freedom aspect, like people kind of applaud her for being a warrior of her own freedom,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. But death doesn't always need to happen.
Yeah.
Like I think of like how I don't know how you feel about Gypsy Rose, but like that's kind of something that I think about like when it comes to like girl boss and like
Yes.
all that
Yes.
because her mom died for her to be free. And like, don't get me wrong, her mom was abusive. She was sadistic. She
Yeah.
was basically killing her own daughter. I still like she still died, you know?
Yeah.
And death isn't always the answer.
I think there's a difference between being like, oh, like yeah, Gypsy had to fight for herself and like that was her only way out, but it shouldn't then be kind of I mean, and same as her, I mean, she has a million documentaries, she has a show that's not even just a documentary. It's actors acting as her and acting out. I've never seen it, but acting out the murder. I'm assuming and stuff like that. But she's also a celebrity now. I mean, she got out of
She's getting
jail and
she's getting influencer treatment.
she's getting influencer treatment. She's getting free plastic surgery. She's getting interviews on late shows and stuff like that. I mean, she's just a celebrity now who did take somebody's life. And I also think that, we're talking about Lizzie being in a situation where she maybe didn't have the best home life and murdered her father and stepmother because of it. And again, it was a very different time and there was a lot of different forensic evidence that couldn't be used then. And she didn't admit to it, but this could also be viewed the same way as the Menendez brothers,
Mhm.
and they're in prison for life.
Yep. So it's like I think I support like I don't know, our incarceration system is all sorts of like messed up. And the charges that people are like held to are
Hmm.
so different. Like, why is a marijuana charge so severe when people are murdering other people and getting off way less,
Yeah.
you know? And I do think like, I don't know, I think of like how as a society allow for certain people to get off scot-free. Like I'm thinking of um Kyle, the guy who drove a truck into a group of people. He was like he's a far right supporter. Yeah, at the parade.
Yeah.
Kyle, whatever his name is, and he got pardoned by the president of the United States, right? So he severely harmed or killed people. I don't even want to say with any justification besides his morals and beliefs. And I think there's some things that can be justified on a universal scale, like safety and freedom and like right to like self autonomy. Does that make sense? So like things that our society, specifically in the United States, we hold in a way. So, like, that's kind of why with Gypsy Rose and the Menendez brothers and like Lizzie, it's like I kind of understand in a way why they did it, but it's like, was that your only option? And that's what's argued, and I understand. Like, the Menendez brothers were getting abused, horrifically abused, right? And so was Gypsy. I don't know about Lizzie because there's not enough. There's not enough. Like we were, like that isn't recent enough to like know the facts. Like there, this trial, these court documents, they're probably gone. With the other two cases, it's like the Menendez brothers. That was disgusting abuse, right? And from what has been shown, but I think it says a lot if they felt like their only way out was to kill their parents.
Yeah.
Where were the resources? Where were A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Where was like Child Protective Services? Like where were those supports?
Yeah.
I think it says more about our world if these people feel like they can't get out. And the culture was different then. Like what your parents said you had to do in the 1800s. Now it's like there's a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a little bit of pushback.
Yeah.
So, do you think that in media, and in like obviously because this case, there's media about it now, but the media that was in the 1800s was, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit later came a newspaper, but
Bird call.
maybe a baby bird call. But do you think, kind of in terms of any case, do you think that it is wrong to display a biases or an opinion in media that is surrounding murder and crime?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. Like, I mean, bias comes through in everything. So it's like, it's gonna happen no matter what. But because you always have, like, your media is, um, it always has a bias connected to it. Like, there is no central media outlet, at least to my knowledge. Like, I think every media is swayed, like, right or left. I'm thinking of news networks right now. Because I saw this graphic a few weeks ago, like, the political scape of every news outlet. But I don't think I want to change my answer. I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I just don't think it's the best approach, but it's going to happen. Does that make sense? So, like, I think of like Luigi Mangiano, like his case right now. Like, he is getting such attention because he's an attractive white man, right? And I have my own thoughts and opinions on like the CEO and what he was doing and how his corporation was like cutting Medicare to like so many people. And do I think he like killing him was amazing? I just think death is bad, right?
Yeah.
Like I just as much as I think school shootings are bad, do I think like one person should die, right? Like I don't think death is an answer, but I find it crazy that there is more attention to Luigi than there is to the past 15 to 20 school shooting suspects, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy that manhunt that happened because a CEO died.
Yeah.
And then now the outcry in the media because he's an attractive white man. And I think that's some people are starting to form that opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, I just think people who commit murder, there's always a justification. It can teeter the line of like what is justified and what's not. And I think my opinions of like what is justified change every day. But I think biases definitely come through in the media when it talks about like, oh, like they couldn't like they couldn't do this. Look at them. They're beautiful. Or I do think biases come through a lot, like racial bias. Like there is more the difference in language used, especially by big headlines. So I saw something of like this girl was lured into the woods by these two teenage boys and mutilated and set on fire, right? They called them baby faced in the headline,
Yeah.
like in the caption. That's crazy.
Yeah.
If it was like, I don't know, like, I think if it was a black man, that would be a different headline. And that is concerning
Yeah.
that we as a society automatically think of what adjectives can we use for this person based off their appearance?
Hmm.
What assumptions can we make based off this person's appearance as well?
Yeah.
That's not going to get us anywhere because I hate that, like, obviously, like, you find suspects and people need to know that someone was held accountable, right? Because, like, if they think someone's wandering the streets of their town who mutilated a 14-year-old girl and burned her, that's going to cause such harm in the community. But I hate that we send out these headlines and big news before a case even hits, and also the time it takes in our legal system. Lizzie heard her case a year after. Luigi's just starting trial now. It's
Hmm.
like these people are in jail. They're losing pieces of their lives already
Yeah.
because our like legal system is so slow.
Yeah.
And but there's so much crime.
Yeah.
So it's like, like
Yeah.
it's if we as a society do better with like reducing crime, will our legal system get better? You never know.
Like, I generally agree with what you're saying. I mean, I think that, like, there's, there's freedom of speech and you can write whatever you want. Freedom of the press, yeah. But I think I have an opinion when it comes to, like, a case that ended in conviction, right? Like,
Mhm.
you have, now again, there's a pretty solid chance that Lizzie killed these people, and I think it's a difficult story because it was so long ago that, like, I can't even say, oh, they should have tested for DNA or they didn't do enough, and there was nothing to do in the 1800s. They used to measure people by the length of their bones, but they knew who the victims were. There was nothing, crazy that could have kind of been done. There was no one to see her do it, but she was alone in the house. So, Um, but I think that, like, in cases when people have clearly been acquitted of a crime or convicted of a crime, I think that it should almost kind of be left that way until maybe new evidence comes to light. But, like, one case that is so large and has so many conspiracies is the JonBenet Ramsey case, and how people think, whichever family member did it, the mom, the dad, the brother, whatever. And CBS came out with a documentary a few years ago about case in general, and everything that they put into that documentary pointed towards the son, and the son sued them for tens of millions of dollars, and he won because CBS made a documentary and literally and basically framed him for it. They were like, this is all the evidence that points to him was, like, the only evidence that they included. They didn't include the idea of the parents writing. Like, it was all directed towards him, and I'm like, and it's freedom of speech, but it's also, like, technically nobody it is. That's what he sued him for, because there's nothing, like, if nobody was convicted, I don't think that you should be able to make a documentary saying this person did it. Like, I think I understand that there is evidence in that case, but I think that if you're gonna make a documentary, just make a documentary about it.
About the case, not about
Put the evidence in, write about the evidence. If you wanna highlight something, or you can say this is the evidence supporting
the side
this side.
and then show the other sides too. It's like
Yeah,
you can't just like, especially with that amount of power in media,
yeah,
I think it's exploiting not exploiting, it's utilizing a platform for harmful intent.
yeah.
It's like CBS has such a scale of power in our society. Like that is one of our biggest networks. It was CBS, right?
Mhm.
So, and also the brother was involved in the documentary, or they got him like to say something. Like
Mhm.
he was interviewed. To be interviewed for a documentary that you're then framed in
Yeah,
is crazy.
yeah.
Because I think they literally took a clip where he was like, I need to see my sister, or like something like that. Like he was
Mhm.
like so insistent on something,
Yeah,
and they twisted that.
yeah.
Good for him, he sued.
Good for him, he
Yeah.
sued. Just kind of really wrap all the ideas up about her case and the media coverage along with it. How do you think media coverage in general, documentaries, true crime podcasts, articles, anything, affect the world of forensics?
I mean, I would say it definitely affects like the public's trust in forensics because if the media sways the public in one way, it's like the people grow to trust the people they see on television and their news outlets and these reputable sources more than they trust science.
Mhm.
And that goes down to like this idea of if someone important is telling you something, you hold it more. And the importance in our society has shifted from medical professionals and scientific people and people with the degrees to be talking about things to people who have power
Mhm.
and have the platform to have their opinions heard. So I'm
Mhm.
thinking of political representatives who are making decisions about healthcare and making decisions about our legal system without any background in it. And
Mhm.
then you have news outlets who hire random people off the street and they are making up lies on
Yeah.
television. That happens, you know.
Mhm.
I think that's a big thing is like there's a loss of trust in the world of forensics. And then people also, I think it takes away from the actual value of evidence, you know? So people are like, oh, this is my conspiracy. I have no evidence behind it, but it just makes sense in my head. And the media also adds in so many ways to think about something. And with the true crime world, conspiracies have grown and they have become more normalized and people are think that they can just think whatever they want about someone someone's like life, someone's decision making, and they run with that. So if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it does. And I mean, and you even at the beginning, you talked about how your knowledge of forensics stems from Criminal Minds
And a few podcasts.
and a few podcasts, and how people can really take and just run with shows. Because I feel like when I have like a conversation with somebody and I'm like, and something, and it's like, oh, I watch these shows, like I know that they're not accurate, but like they're just so and I like, I mean, I watch them too. Like I'd be lying if I said I didn't, but I watch them for like a TV purpose. I'm not like I want to solve the crime during the episode
So you have some people who have decided to become forensics majors because of Criminal Minds.
because of shows. Yes, I know. So
Because
that
I
was
think they got the pattern right there.
so that's we talked about that in the other episodes because this year's freshman class is dominated by forensics majors. It's like we have reached that point, which is partially exciting because like I came in as a freshman as a forensic science major and here I am like I'm getting a degree in it, but and like running the FSA and stuff, I'm like I want to be the person that like can help people get through it because the first 2 years suck. It's just chem class after bio class after chem class.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is really hard when you're not getting into like the applicable parts of the job that you actually want to do.
Mhm.
But
Plus these classes.
yeah, but I know people that are forensics majors that want to go into forensic journalism. And to do that, you should really be a journalism major.
I didn't
Um,
even know that was a thing.
yeah, well, yeah, but I feel like that's like sports journalism. Like you could be,
You
you
can
can do
start in regular
journalism
journalism
and
and then
do anything. Yeah,
take some forensic
yeah,
classes, you know,
yeah.
like
And I mean, I'm majoring in forensic criminology, right? Like you can, there's forensic criminology, there's forensic biology minor.
you could even just do like a forensic science major with a journalism minor. At
Yeah,
least go after something.
yeah,
Or even a writing.
yeah. And it's so, I feel like from the perspective of somebody that's like still a student, kind of growing up in this world, it's nice to see that people are interested, but it's hard and I want to like support these like young people's dreams, but then I'm like, oh, like what do you want to do? And they're like, I love Spencer Reed. And I'm like,
It's like cool.
good for you. Like, yeah. But so it's just kind of interesting. And I think people get so invested in like true crime podcasts and stuff like that, that they're like, oh, I could solve it while they were literally feeding you like a baby the evidence, and then you think you can solve it, and then next thing you know, they're they want to be detectives and they want to be, and I think that also can, you know, harm the forensics world, but I think it can also harm the police department and like the task force because they're also, you know, it's exciting that it's being talked about more than it ever has, but there's a good and a bad side to that. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add about
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me. Thanks for talking about Lizzie.
Yeah, good old Lizzie Borden. We out.